Hello, welcome to another episode of High Ground, powered by Premier Companies. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Sal?
Doing outstanding.
Who you got for us?
We got some local folks here with us from Premier Energy, so glad to have them in here. We got Todd Masten.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us, and Chad Stuckwisch. But
Thanks for having
before
me.
we get started, though, with introductions, and we definitely want to have introductions and everything, but we've got the question of the day, and this may be its own podcast.
That could get out of hand.
So we'll start with Todd and go around. What is the funniest, since we're getting up on the Christmas season, what is the funniest or most unusual Christmas prank or gift prank that you've ever been involved in, either as the pranker or prankee?
Okay. My favorite Christmas movie, by the way, is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, gosh, classic.
That's my kids still watch that multiple times.
That's one of those, if it's on
Love it.
TV, you gotta watch it for a little bit anyway.
Oh, you got to watch it. But still love that one. I would say, just remembering as a kid, my dad was a big Christmas fan, but we'd always have a prank gift. And we had this pair of boxer shorts. I think they were size 60 or maybe bigger. I'm not sure. They were huge. I mean, me and my younger brother could get in one leg and someone could get in the other leg. But we ran across these, and so we would wrap this gift and decide who we wanted to give it to, my uncle or whoever. And we always had a lot of fun with it. And we always get pictures, three of us standing in this boxer short. So that was always a lot of fun. That was a good memory.
That's funny.
Yep.
How many years did that make the rounds, or did it keep going around like pink flamingos?
Yeah, it just kept going around, and you don't know who would get it.
You just knew somebody was going to get
threw it under the tree, and and we always had fun with it. And,
That's awesome.
And get our picture taken with it.
That's funny.
I don't know what ended up happening. I think my uncle ended up just keeping them, but I don't know what. Maybe he uses an oil rag in a
shop towels.
Yeah, right.
Maybe better get on Amazon, order some up, and bring that back into
Yep.
Chad, chop that.
Yeah. Mine's similar to Todd's, but I actually married into this one. So my wife, her family, the extended family, had every year they get together, have a gift exchange, and obviously no names or whatever, and just grab a present under the tree, and that was your gift.
Oh.
So one year somebody wrapped a fruit salad, and then so this was back in 2007, and then every year after that, they froze it, and they re-gifted it every year.
Gosh.
So about all the way from 2007. So I started in 2015. So it had been going on for 7 years, but that's the most, fruit salad, frozen fruit salad. Somebody get every year.
play off. He's talking about there was only one fruitcake in the world. It just always made the rounds for everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that was one of those things that you remember every Christmas that somebody, try to feel the present to see if it was cold or hot or not hot, but so
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
The shelf life would be on something like that.
Yeah,
a little freezer burnt.
Yeah, I've got two I want to mention because the one, I had a great uncle that was he was quite the prankster and stuff, and so he was, especially to any new wife coming into the family, he was always doing something pretty ornery to kind of embarrass them. So and some of the stuff we did we won't talk about on air, but and then the other one I just heard this actually, and Todd and I have got a little bit of history. We were fraternity brothers, and one of our fraternity brothers, his daughter did this just recently, and it was at Thanksgiving. Their extended family was together, and they're going to have a drawing for their Christmas drawing. And it's the coolest thing ever. Shows she's in charge of putting the drawing together. She only put her name in, and I thought that was one of the funniest things I heard.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's clever.
Yeah,
That's good.
Mine would be it just happened actually, and it's it's more of a scam than a prank. My wife, who should know better, and my little girl, they was going to buy this Advent calendar, and they watched the Facebook a lot, and apparently there was an ad for a Advent calendar that had like little squishy animals, stuffed animals and it was amazingly cheap for what you got. It was like $30 or something. And so they had ordered this, they found it, they were just thrilled, and they waited and waited and waited. And then one day she got a notification getting delivered today. And this was off of the Facebook, not Amazon or any reputable retailer. And so I go get in the mailbox, and we were coming back from something. It was a box about this big. And I'm like, I wonder what that is. I was like, well, I think this is your calendar. Oh, that better not be that calendar, you know. And, oh, that better not be, and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't think anything else about it. I was down there and filling the boiler up and got back up to the house. And those two were mortified. It was just little bitty plastic cutouts of the little. So imagine they took a picture of and made it big, and yeah. So it was what it said, but it was like this little. It was just total Chinese crap, and they were just mortified. Kate was almost in tears, and Kim was. I emailed him and said, "You made my little girl cry," and I was laughing so hard. I was like, you guys know better than to order anything off of that Facebook. I was like, you got to get it from a retailer of some reputable. I was like, that's funny. You learned a valuable lesson, and we got a funny story, right? Mm-hmm. But
we'll share this podcast on Facebook now that you're,
oh no, yeah, edit that out, Thomas. So, well, let's get introductions. That was fun, but. So, Todd, why don't you start with us? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's talk about Premier Energy and what your role is with the company.
Yep. So, I've kind of been in the cooperative system a long time. Actually, went to Purdue and with Jeff, and once we got out of Purdue, worked for a chemical company for a couple of years. And so I started out in ag chemical business, and then from there, they ended up getting sold, and I knew I didn't want to be an ag chemical rep, so got back close to home and went to work for the co-op, and went through several acquisitions and mergers and partnerships and you name it. And it's just been a great experience. And then, of course, I've been here 11 months here with Premier, so really enjoying the time here and the culture and the good people. It's just it's been really, really good. So, yeah, I've been in the co-op system, including here, probably 38 years.
Wow.
So I like the cooperative model. It is a really, really neat model. And I just didn't want to get away from it. So I'm sure glad to be here.
Most of your time on the energy side?
Business development manager.
Okay.
Yep. So,
all right.
So exciting piece of it. That's kind of my favorite part. So
good.
It's been a lot of fun.
Nice. And Chad?
Yeah, so I come from a family farm. Went to college at Purdue as well. Graduated there in 20. Started with Premier Ag, and as soon as I graduated, started in the ag side, working there in Cortland as the chemical building. Whatever they need, or I was out there to make sure all that went
busy
well.
place. I was going to say the same thing. Busy place.
And it never slows down. That's what you learn. It's even if it's raining or if it's cold in the wintertime, there's something to do. There's product coming in. There's product going out. So you're busy all the time. And then about a year later, I came to the energy side in dispatch. And then a short time later, went into the sales role. Been there for about 3 years now. And then my sales territory is the western half of our trade territory, so Jackson County to the west, and here I am.
It's a big area.
Yeah. So yeah, we go all the way down to the river, and then all the way almost to Illinois, not quite, but
graduated from Purdue in 20 with my daughter.
Okay,
and you guys got robbed of your graduation because of COVID.
Right.
That's too bad.
Went home on spring break and never came back.
Yeah.
So virtual graduation, the whole bit.
Did they prorate that or discount it at all?
No, they did not.
I think so.
That's the weird thing about it. Yeah. No, they didn't do anything of the sort. So
that's right.
We got the degree though. So
well, for our listeners, and most of what we do at Premier Companies is energy, and so for listeners may not be familiar with Premier Energy, it's very popular. And tell us a little bit about it and kind of the makeup of what we call the energy division, I guess.
And our footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can start a little bit here, and Chad, you can kind of jump in. The footprint has grown for Premier, and it keeps growing, which is good. So we're into propane and fuel, and lubricants. Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky is our primary footprint, and I actually get into Tennessee a little bit.
Yeah.
So obviously there's talks that maybe we can expand on that. But it's been, the energy piece for the cooperative system, as long as I've been in it, it's been a very, very key piece of the cooperative business. And being part of CountryMark, we're very unique in the fact of we've got a really unique story to tell, and puts us at a really good advantage, in this area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just touching on the CountryMark bit. I mean, that's kind of what, you ask what separates you from somebody else. CountryMark has their own refinery down there in Mount Vernon, private pipeline, so only their product goes through it. So that goes up to Switz City and Jolietville, and then on up to Peru. But when people ask, what's that matter? Well, I mean, that's unheard of. Only one company controls the whole from start to finish, from getting the oil to making it to diesel and sending it up the pipeline, and having their hands on it the whole time, and making sure that
And there's quite a distinction just in quality of fuel that we get, through our ownership of CountryMark. Can you talk about the quality of the products?
Yeah, so it's premium PDX4 is what CountryMark's branded product is, and in that is there's a stabilizer to help fuel stay longer in the tank if needed, and lubricity, detergency, and then a cetane booster as well for horsepower and easier starts. And so a lot of people, when they get this number 2 diesel, not CountryMarks, they're adding all these additives and their own homemade concoctions and everything. And what we can just tell them is when we deliver it, it's ready to go.
It's in there.
So, I mean, that's, it does, cost a little extra, but what you're spending on what you're putting in it, it's going to come out in the wash. So, why not just have a chemist do it for you?
Yeah.
So that's it's hard. Some people grasp it better than others, but I think once people use it and see how well it performs, they're very satisfied.
So you said you've been 38 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing over those 38 years, you've had some testimonials that somebody. It's one thing to go out there and say, as a salesman, here's the benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What kind of testimonials can you tell us about people that have brought to you about using, the premium diesel?
You want to talk about that?
I've got one. I mean, we've had a construction or excavation company that had breakdowns, and they were, wondering what happened or what's going on. And so they sent off their fuel sample. It came back, and there's obviously flaws with it. So they switched to us. This has been 20 some years ago, if not more. And they're having to change fuel filters all the time. They're clogging them. And they switched to us, and all that stuff just went away. All their machines started working better, started running better, starting better. And I mean, they would be willing to tell anybody that they knew that there was the fuel, and a lot of people just think diesel fuel's diesel fuel, but when you got somebody like that has excavators and big tractors and dozers, and when they see a noticeable difference, that's really saying something. Yeah. And I mean, there's been quarries and people that in just a dirty mess. If you're in a quarry, there's dust everywhere. It's easy to get stuff mixed in or whatever. But those are very good customers of ours where they see those benefits. So
it's kind of funny. You talked about excavation and quarries and stuff like that. I think a lot of people just think that we only sell to farmers.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, farmers are a huge part of our business, but that's where we started, and that's where we focus. So it depends on what territory you're in. So places like Washington, Lagodi, I mean, you got a lot of farmers there. Whereas you get into Monroe County, you're in commercial. So I mean, there's different territories, we try to service everybody, but obviously we pride ourselves on servicing farmers but yeah, of course, commercial sites as well too. So,
well, we're farmer owned company, and that goes all the way to CountryMark, which makes us so unique. So we're servicing our owners, and we got to listen to them, right? The farmers. But on the other hand, when you have a refinery, you've got to run volume. So you can't, you got to look outside the farm gate to move that volume that CountryMark needs to move to keep the refinery going profitable. And that's the uniqueness of, the energy piece. We work with such a diverse group of customers, farmers, trucking companies, school systems, you name it, retail locations. And then you get into propane, home heat, and heating oil, home heat. So we work not just with farmers, but everyone.
Yeah.
And, and obviously we need to be profitable for the cooperative in those segments, outside that farm gate. And I just, we've developed a really good brand. I think CountryMark's done a really, really good job. I know Matt Smorch was on with you guys a few weeks ago, and I thought he did a superb job with his podcast and really and breaking it down and what's going on with CountryMark. But, I can rattle off a lot of different testimonials. I mean, just scenarios of performance, mileage, and that kind of thing over the years that Diesel X has done. So it's been good. It's unique. We're lucky to have that in our back pocket to compete with.
It's kind of like the two big components of the value proposition with Premier Energy. It sounds like is that one is just the quality, right? You got something that really differentiates yourself. And Todd brought by the office a picture close up of the diesel injectors, and after so much use in certain hours, and just the differences and what those injectors look like. But then also, we have, you talk about construction, and then you also public services, ambulance companies. It seems like fire departments, whenever it has to be relied upon in a supply plan for an emergencies, it seems like Premier Energy is the one that they come to.
Yeah, we got school corporations that they will only buy the premium diesel.
Yeah.
Because they know it performs. And especially in the wintertime, CountryMark, they do a wonderful job of making sure the fuel's winterized. And but yeah, there's schools that just won't even entertain anything else.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the support mechanism the cooperative has and Premier has is just different than your competitor that just peddles whatever brand of fuel they can get a hold of in a common carrier pipeline. I mean, we can track, like Chad was saying, we track that stuff clear to the hole in the ground. I mean, we know where the crude comes from. We are, we're part owner of a refinery, and people don't put that together. But when you talk to a customer, say, we own part of CountryMark. I mean, you want to go see the refinery? I'll take you down there.
That's pretty cool.
What other competition can do that? And, and we probably don't do that enough, taking customers, but that's always open to anybody, and show them, the whole process. It's just so unique. And we got to continue to tell that story. And that was so cool with, Matt being on board, because he tells the story really good.
Yeah,
really good
for our listeners, Matt Smorch is the CEO of CountryMark, and he's been on the podcast a couple times, so you can always go back and find those episodes. He's always fun to have on.
He's done a great job for CountryMark, and that's what we got to do as a cooperative: tell our story. Don't let someone else tell it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting though, that because I think we think as being a farmer-owned cooperative, and you make diesel fuel, and you're probably thinking, it's going to go to farmers, but really that's a seasonal business. And to run that refinery year round, you've got to have some commercial, customers as well to keep the tanks turning over in the off season from farming.
Yeah. Matt talked about, I don't want to get too far into that, but talked about how small our refinery is. It's really small in comparison to that business. And, to stay competitive, and, they got to be profitable. They do pass the profit on. Therefore, we can pass the profit on, eventually get to the farmer. I mean, that's the whole concept of the cooperative system. And, so we got to look outside the farm gate at times to move product, to keep things flowing. And stay competitive.
Chad, you mentioned that you started off in dispatch a little bit. To me, I mean, obviously the farmers got to have it's so timely. I mean, the volume gets really big, and then there's there's diesel exhaust fluid, there's just the premium diesel itself. But how do y'all dispatch all this mix of blended customers of commercial and farmers and public utilities? How do you work through all that?
Very carefully.
Very carefully. Well, there you go. That's spoken like a salesman.
No, I mean, you got customers that get different products and trucks. You got to make sure they load the right thing at the terminal when they go, and make sure if one customer wants winter product yet, or the next one doesn't, and somebody wants premium and somebody wants number 2. It's just, that's the thing is, we're very lucky because, myself and dispatch team, we work very close together now, and that was the same when I was in dispatch. I mean, you got to be in touch with everybody, so that's, being premier out, some people might think we're big, but, we're pretty small in that perspective of communication wise. We've got, everybody's got each other's phone numbers, and you're on the phone constantly the whole day, but it's a wonderful thing to, have it like a family-like atmosphere here, that you're not afraid to pick up the phone and call them, because, I mean, it's better to double check than just to go out on a whim and order it, or just take for granted that that's what, maybe they sent it wrong, and usually it's this, but, they may have sent it wrong or something. So no, I think we do something, in transportation and in dispatch and in the sales team works really, really well together, from all the way from the top to the bottom. So when you ask, how do we do it? It's just, I don't know, repetition and communication is a big part of it all.
Well, I see your tank wagon trucks that are out delivering stuff, and I've seen those guys out. You're leaving early in the morning to go to the airport or something. It's 4:30 in the morning, and it's like you pass one of our tank wagons, or it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, and there goes one of our tank. I'm just like, those guys are. I mean, they get it done.
That's all that. I mean, there's people that's there. We got some that start at 4 o'clock, and we got some that don't start a little later, but then they're working until the job's done. I mean, that's the thing. CountryMark or cooperative system or Premier Energy. I mean, that's what kind of sets us apart. They're not done until their customers are taken care of. So
I do give a shout out to, I called Chad here a few weeks ago, at a trucking company that actually, they truck ammonia to us in the spring. And it's a company based out of Central Illinois. He calls me. He's got a truck in our trade area. He's got an issue. He needs some diesel, some off-road diesel, and he's just looking for help. And I called Chad. I make one phone call, give him the guy's number. Boom, problem solved. Chad got it done, and that guy called me later. He's like, very appreciative, and so they also handle some 911 situations every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like you said, when you call me, but then I call somebody else, and then having be able to rely on somebody like our drivers to go and do something like that. That's not, they didn't have that on their schedule for the day. But they're always there. We have tremendous drivers that do a wonderful job, and rarely do they let us down. So I mean, it's something you can hang your hat on. Service. I mean, that's
the success of. I mean, Premier. You got a lot of new is it partnerships or sponsorships? I mean, there's some pretty big the National Farm Machinery Show, and tell us a little bit about some of the big partnerships and sponsorships that's come about.
So
new start.
Okay, new this year, and just started here recently. But we will be the fuel supplier for the National Farm Machinery Show and the State Fair. There's another event there too that we're
the Kentucky State Fair.
Yeah, the State Fair,
North American
Livestock. Yeah,
just finished up.
So that's a new venture that we're in right now. Kind of why we did that, or is trying to establish who Premier is in that area, because we are down. I mean, Kentucky is a big piece of our energy portfolio now. So
Yep.
making sure everybody is aware. But you can't think of a better place to put your brand out than a National Farm Machinery Show where, hundreds of thousands of farmers are showing up. You're not going to service it. People that are coming from Iowa, but, they'll see our image when they drive in and banners here and there. But just trying to get our, brand out there, make awareness and our support for agriculture. But
Yep.
Todd, you got anything to
No,
add?
just kind of coattailing what Chad said exactly was, what he said. I mean, I think, there was opportunity kind of through just a relationship with some of our acquisitions in Kentucky. Our people down there knew people, people know people. And Ben kind of got on the horn and was able to capture this opportunity. And so, we got to service the Kentucky State Fair this year and be able to kind of secure all three of those events. And I think he's doing, there's some marketing going on as far as I think they have a video that they'll put up on the big board, and they did that at the North American.
Yeah.
And we'll see that at the Louisville Farm Machinery Show coming up here in February. And we got to get our brand out, and we're moving into Kentucky, and CountryMark's in a position, they're ready to move into Kentucky. And what a better place to start to explode that brand along with Premier, co-brand with CountryMark. So I think it's exciting. And we're always there at the Louisville Farm Machinery Show with a booth. We get a lot of traffic, a lot of customers come look for us, and it's not going to be any different this year. And we want to expand on that.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would think Kentucky farmers would like to hear that message of
Yes.
of the quality that CountryMark can bring, and now it's available to them.
Yes, there's a lot. There's been a lot of feedback. A lot of the farmers down there are excited about CountryMark brand coming that way. There's with my salespeople down there, they're getting a lot of feedback and kind of hearing the word, and then we're going to spread it this year.
Good.
Awesome.
And it's all domestic production.
Yep.
Out of CountryMark too, right? It all comes out of the U.S., out of the Midwest.
All American, all local.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So, kind of wrapping up a little bit, but what's kind of the most exciting thing that you guys see as far as there has been so much energy, no pun intended, energy and activity on the Premier Energy side with acquisitions and with expansions in a new market with Southern Petroleum, our new coworkers down there, and Kentucky and Tennessee, and then also we've had some other businesses that have kind of come into the fold with Premier Energy. But what's some of the things that are kind of exciting about the future, 2026 and on?
Well, I like this this new product that's coming out that CountryMark's with their Diesel X4 that with the ISO technology that you guys talked about with Matt a little bit. That's
you're
exciting.
assuming we understood that.
Yes. We nodded a lot.
He definitely has passion, and he's very smart with it. And I'm really excited to see how that performs, because that is really a game changer in the fact we get through a year here, field tested. We've done a lot of testing with test engines and things, but it's the first in the Midwest to have this technology in a refinery like this, to be able to use soy oil and through a hydrotreater. It's not blended product. It is refined product. You can pump it through the same pipeline as diesel fuel or biodiesel. You couldn't do that. I mean, it is the same stuff. And
Which is amazing that chemically it's identical to but yet it's renewable or
And Matt got really deep into the molecule thing, which but the thing is, if this thing performs, then we've got a product. We are supporting our farmers who own us, who owns CountryMark, and we're producing a diesel fuel better than anybody that'll have on the market. That's our plan.
Yeah,
and that's exciting.
Because in the past, when one of the big challenges was if you had the soybean oil, if you had to be careful in the winter, and now we're getting away from those things. You can burn this year round.
I've been around long enough. I remember selling gasoline, and when we had put ethanol in gasoline, you talk to some of these farmers before ethanol, they used methanol. Well, they had a problem with methanol in gasoline, and they didn't want any ethanol in their gasoline. So we got past that. That was years ago. Well, I was probably Chad's age back then, and heard those stories. You don't hear that story anymore, but you still do hear stories about biodiesel. Mm-hmm. I don't want anybody, because they've had issues with winter operability, right? I think we've moved forward with that. And with this renewable, if it does what it says it's going to do, we'll take care of that issue. We won't, So
that's awesome.
You kind of go through the process when you come, you get some of these new type technologies, and sometimes you got to field test it a little bit. You can do all the testing in-house, but once you get it out, and get it into an environment, and Chad talked about dirt and dust and moisture and, everything that comes with, being in a farm tank, sitting there for maybe months before used. So, we got to get through that, but I'm excited about it. And if this thing goes, I mean, he's got a tool that no one will have, and have some fun stuff to talk about.
And you're testing that next year?
We're using it right now.
Oh, got it now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. That whole, hydrotreater, the ISO is in process right now.
That's
now
right.
They decide how much soy to put in. I mean, that's kind of a decision on CountryMark's part, but
it was like $100 million investment or something.
$100 million.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
fascinating.
Yeah.
So that's exciting for me.
Mm-hmm. What, so our customers are listening out there. Mm-hmm. What kind of opportunities? I guess can you give them a little bit of a forecast where you think diesel prices are going, and what kind of opportunities do they have to contract fuel with us?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jeff. Thanks for taking that one up there for
Didn't
me.
know that was coming.
Put you on the spot.
I got my ink pen out here.
Yeah.
Just tell us it's getting cheaper. We'll all be happy.
Well, to timestamp it, we're
actually
early December. It has been getting cheaper, and some geopolitical plays a major role in that currently, and has in the past 4 years. Because before then, you always had your historical trends. So anytime, usually after Thanksgiving and then into February, was typically the best time to buy diesel for the next year. Recently, I mean, it has followed that same pattern, and I think it will continue to do that. But with everything outside of, like I said, geopolitical, but there's been supplies and there's just more and more things that affect that diesel price now than I think that they did used to. But I'd say, about like the grain markets, if you're happy with the price, and this is kind of how I talk to my customers about it. If you got your average price from last year and you can beat that, then why not do something? So we have the unique ability to book fuel or contract fuel for the next year. And that's something we like to talk about in December and January with the growers, just to go over their past year, and then where we're at now, and we can look at charts or look at what things have done in the past. But to make a educated decision, or you can't say this is going to be the bottom, and But I think if the grower's happy with the price, then I've always been a fan of,
locking some in.
Locking some in, yeah. I mean, never go 100%, but and then it depends on the farmer or the, commercial entity. Some of them want a fixed price for the entire year, or some of them needed a fixed price for the entire year. I mean, when you talk to municipalities, they
want to know.
Yeah. So they need to know for their budgeting. So this is always the time of year it gets a little bit busier for us, but it's a great time to reflect on the past year, see where you're at, and see where the prices are now, and if it makes sense to maybe do a little something. But like I said, typically the winter months are good months to look at doing that. Contracting diesel. I think, Todd.
It's a commodity. It's a commodity just like corn, beans, and wheat. It's a commodity like it is fertilizer. And, you look at the markets and you pay attention, and, you see opportunities. You don't want to recommend something, too far to the right and get yourself in trouble. But I think you need to educate, your customer on, hey, this is historically what it does. this is a good opportunity, and just have those type of conversations. But right now, it's been coming off, so it really looks good. The one thing we do, Evan Speaker, our risk manager, does a energy update, and it comes out on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and that is available to anybody. That is available to any of our customers.
Okay.
Any of our customers that want just to kind of keep themselves in tune with what's going on. Evan does a superb job in just making a quick hit on what's going on in the market, so you can kind of just keep an eye on it without having to go to bar chart and look at stuff. You know what I mean?
It's every Tuesday and Thursday.
Every Tuesday and Thursday. And all we need is, if a customer has an email,
Yep.
they can, we can get them on, Evan's email list, and they'll get that energy update.
Awesome.
And then I don't know if they can text. I think it's an email, but and then of course we got Premier Connect, and I want to encourage customers to get on Premier Connect. That is such a valuable tool to look at your accounts and just kind of see where you're at on what you've purchased, and help make decisions on when you talk to Chad. All right, this is what I purchased this past year. Kind of help start making those decisions. So recommend customers take advantage of that as well.
That app is, I have never, since I've had Premier Connect, I've never ordered fuel or gas or anything on the farm other than through that app.
Yeah.
And
It's easy.
it is so easy. You're sitting right there. You're at your tank. It's identified. It knows where you're at on the farm, and it gives you your selection. Tells you, it put in how many gallons you want. You want it filled up, or do you want it just 200 gallons or whatever it is, and
Push a button and the truck shows up.
it's like magic.
Yeah.
And
Almost.
within a day or two, there's fuel. And you're like, wow.
And then you can pay your bill on it.
I got to tell my wife not to do the credit card. I was like, do that electronic funds.
Yeah.
You said something kind of triggered a thought. It's more than fuel. You got DEF fluid, and then also lubricants and oils, right?
Yeah. So we're pretty well the one-stop shop for anything, a farmer or commercial place would need, from anywhere from diesel fuel to the DEF and oil, grease, antifreeze, wiper fluid, anything that you put in a truck or a tractor, we would, if we don't have it, we can get it usually. So, there's some one-offs that we've been called on and we're like, maybe not, but I mean, anything that, is in a typical vehicle, or we have access to that. And then that's, a lot of people don't know that. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. But yeah,
you can cross-reference the manufacturer. Of course, they always want you to use whatever this spec or but of a case or whatever it is, but you can cross-reference those numbers and what
absolutely.
goes in there.
Yep.
You said wiper fluid?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's one thing that it's never on the shelf when you need it.
I think they may sell it in bigger quantities than what you and I.
Yeah, all the way from a gallon jug to a tote of it. So yeah.
Wow. That's yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's unique for Premier. I mean, you can buy your agricultural inputs, you can buy your diesel fuel, pretty well anything you need on the farm. We can service it on the ag side or the energy side. So.
And I think, again, and Sal and I were talking earlier, the strength of the cooperative system is, we can come to the farm gate with a multiple, things, and sometimes we maybe take that for granted, and utilize the relationships and to help our customer out, to take advantage of, if they're not doing fertilizer with us, let's get them connected, And I think that's something we got to keep in our minds as we move forward as a cooperative and competing in this environment that's going to get tougher, as we all know, whether it's energy or whether it's agronomy or whether it's feed or grain. It's all going to get tougher, and we gotta team up, and we're all one team, no matter what division we're in.
Yeah. And it's a neat message about more power, better efficiency, better fuel efficiency. Yep. It's a real neat product that you're bringing into the market.
Yeah.
So if a farmer or a business or a trucking company wants to get connected with Premier Energy, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, you can Premier Connect or Premier companies on on the internet, or
Yep.
I can give my information to you guys, and we can put that up there.
We'll put it up. Your
we'll
cell
put it-
number.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
you know,
We'll
we
put
have
a-
a customer
link.
service a group that you know, we're kind of expanding on that here and really focusing in. And that's the neat thing about Premier. I mean, we're very customer service oriented. That's the first thing I've noticed the day one I started here. I mean, very customer centric. I think that's key, right? And that's the beauty of the cooperative. I mean, we typically, that's just kind of our mindset, but we have not let that go. So I think, you know, if you just call in here and say, hey, here's what I need, they'll get us to the right spot. You know, they'll get you to Chad or get you to me or, yep.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Good deal.
All right. Well, I know I got more questions. This has been a fun one. This is interesting.
Yeah, that's it's always interesting to hear about a vision of this company that that I don't I see you guys in the hallway, but I don't get to we don't talk about that stuff every day. So it's always interesting to get you guys in here and hear what's going on that side of the business.
Yeah.
All right, Todd, Chad, thanks for joining us today.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you letting us be on, and it was fun.
All right. Well, that's another episode of The High Ground, powered by Premier Companies. Thank you all very much.